Hello, everyone. Glad to see you back at Silver Tears Tarot, and a warm welcome to those of you who are new. So, today I'm back with another question from a request. And this one came from multiple people once again. So, like last time, I'm going to paraphrase. What's coming for me? Who is coming for me? Is there a special person coming my way, possibly a soulmate? What can I what can I expect? What's coming my way in love? And I knew just because of how those questions felt when they started to come in, and the feelings behind them, that I needed to do a quick pick a pile for this one because um, moods were just very different. So, as always, of course, these are general readings. They might not resonate with everybody, but the pick a pile is cool because you can identify the one that is for you. And if you enjoy the videos, be sure to like, share, subscribe, so you'll be able to stick with me. So take a moment, pick out your pile. Here we've got pile 1 with the amethyst, then pile 2 with the tiger's eye, and pile 3 with the moss agate. And as I always say, don't overthink it. Just breathe, pause the video if you want to, and see which one you feel most drawn to. And if you chose pile 1, just go ahead and stay tuned because it'll be up next. For a different pile, check out the timestamps for each pile down below. And so go ahead and pick your pile and let's get started. Okay, so people who picked pile 1, let's see what kind of messages came out for you. And this was the pile with the amethyst. This is one of my favorites. Give you a good look at it. All right, so pile 1, and again, we're looking at really what is coming your way. And the flavor of the questions really trended toward, it was a lot of who is coming my way, but it's also just kind of even broader than that. What is coming my way? So that's what we're going to look at. And the first thing I want to get, and I'm kind of shuffling through, I want to get your current energy. The card that turns over for us will be reflecting your current energy. And so when we go to clarify, here we go. We have the Ace of Needles. I always just take the top card unless I'm guided to do more than that. So this is the Ace of Needles, and this one is the same as, the Ace of Swords. And so it's new beginnings, but it's like I almost get the sense of a new truth coming out. So we'll see what happens as we go on to clarify that one as well. Maybe get a little bit of a feel. So if that's the current energy, it's also, what is the energy that brought us to this point? So we've got a new truth. So we're going to learn a little bit more about that, how it came about. But let's look first at, just what big picture, what do you have to look forward to? I like to just ask it that way. So here we have, this is 8 of Needles. And so this is like the 8 of Swords in reverse. So this is like releasing you from a mental prison. So I guess we'll have to see a little bit more about what that means for you, with the mental prison. But it sounds like you end up released from that. So maybe this is about the path to getting there. Let's see about characteristics of any new person who would be heading your way, and maybe even a little bit of the nature of that. So this is the Queen of Candles, which is going to be like the Queen of Wands in the reverse. And so Queen of Wands in the reverse here is, sometimes I think of the Queen of Wands as being particularly passionate, but in this case, this Queen of Wands feels overly passionate. So maybe making some decisions that are not in anyone's best interest. Well, here's a person who's not doing that. So it seems like, and of course, it doesn't have to be a feminine or a female person coming toward you. It's somebody whose characteristics are being depicted as the Queen of Wands in reverse. And really, doesn't matter, male, female, what the characteristics are. They're something that you can apply to a person. So your person could be anything. So This is a Queen of Wands in reverse, and it's particularly this person may be really just kind of dropping some masks or stopping to, they're not needlessly passionate, which ends up being kind of a compensation for something. So they're not needlessly passionate and they're not wearing a bunch of additional masks. And then it looks like you are also being a little bit less in your head about things. So that's gonna bode well. And there's a new truth coming out. So that's interesting. So this new person, this new person that is the Queen of Wands in reverse, that's not wearing a mask, and it feels like it's a relatively recent change for them to get to where they are. I guess there's been some healing here, and to get there, they've had to overcome some things. It's turned them into the person that they are now. So I guess when you change like that, what the things that you want change. So what does this person want with you? Okay. Strength. So this is mutual strength though. This person is looking for a partner, somebody to, both of you will be overcoming fears as you come into this relationship just because of the nature of things that have happened to you in the past. There's a new truth here that shows that there was something that you didn't know. And there's you coming out of overthinking, which implies that you were in overthinking. And then you've got this person over here who it feels like a new development is not wearing a mask anymore, is not being passionate. They're not dying on the wrong hills. Like they have developed in some way and they're looking for a partner in you. Oh, that's neat. So I'm going to be really interested to see what that means when we clarify, because when you see the strength card, as I'm fond of saying, the strength card does not happen in a vacuum. So if there is strength, then strength is, it's required. So there's fear, there's something on the other side for that strength to push on. And so this is a partner in life, it feels like, but also in this path that maybe both of you now know you're on. You've already seen some progress. And this is somebody, so you're meeting somebody. Well, first of all, what's coming your way is a little more healing, and you've got some new truth, which we'll look into here in a minute. But you are meeting somebody who's wanting to have a partner on this healing journey that they are also on. So that's the nature of this partnership. I don't always feel partnership off the strength card, but I did here. But again, we'll clarify here in a minute. Yeah. Oh, and by the way, this is if it's not evident, the Nightmare Before Christmas tarot deck. I always like to introduce the decks. Um, I want to understand, what's hidden. That's a question that I like to ask. What is hidden from you? What's around that next corner that maybe you just aren't seeing right now? Like as soon as you get there, you're going to be a lot clearer. Maybe it's relevant to this new truth. We'll see. But I guess what's around that next corner? What's hidden for you currently from view? So we have the sun. There's kind of a missed opportunity or a date that doesn't happen, or something that just kind of doesn't happen. It doesn't work out, and it's going to seem like it's a problem, and that's part of how you're going to figure out how far along your healing path each other is. So you're going to have, maybe like I said, it's a mixed date, or maybe a missed date, or just some sort of missed opportunity with the two of you, but you're going to have a chance to talk about it. And it's going to help you, it's going to help reveal for you how far along the two of you have come in your path. This may not even be a new person. This may be somebody that you just don't think about as having healed. And like I was saying, with this maybe being associated with the new truth that's coming out, that supports, it could be, this not the same characteristics that you've seen from this person before. They've grown, they've removed some masks, they're more real now, and you are more open in your mind. It's not so much being open-minded, it's that sense of not overthinking things so much. But it's going to be some sort of thing that happens, some sort of bauble or foible that exposes this for you. It's always those those situations where things don't always go all the way right, that you start seeing things get exposed, like somebody handles things really well, it stays cool, or somebody just makes a better show of it than maybe what you expected. So let's see. Let's get another card on really kind of what's coming next for you here. And so this isn't so much where are you going long term as it is truly and honestly what is coming next and what is next in the path for you. So let's take a look at that. What is coming next? So we have the Queen of Needles in reverse, and that's like the Queen of Swords in reverse. And so this is the dropping of the, like your guard. You've got a guard maybe that you're keeping up, maybe even with this person if it's not a new person, but you would be able to release some of your concerns and just be able to acknowledge that maybe there's something to learn here. Like this is dropping that guarded sense where sometimes the Queen of Swords in the upright, in this case the Queen of Needles, is she's guarded and she's kind of, I mean, not especially interested in your advances. And so here's a person who's learned to be a little bit more vulnerable and is maybe working on learning to be a little more vulnerable. And that could really be true of both of you. So this is interesting. There's a new truth, which we think maybe could be born of this something that doesn't go quite right, whether it's a missed opportunity or a missed date, some sort of miscommunication. But you guys talk it through and you determine and you discover that, you've come a long way, and you're no longer overthinking things or up in your head about things. You guys might surprise each other. And you might surprise yourselves, but I would just say go with it. If you find that you're able to maintain that higher vibration, just go with it, because that's what's going to get you the better results. Being able to stay out of your head about it, being able to be genuine, not wearing a mask, and you guys could join together to potentially just be able to learn together in a kind of a safe space where you're both supporting each other. You're able to be vulnerable. I guess let's see what happens when we clarify. So here we go. Let me go ahead and clarify this Ace of Needles first. And this is the Naked Heart Tarot. It's the first time I will have used it here, I think, on this channel. But it's one that's recent in the rotation, but it's a dependable deck. And so we want to understand the Ace of Needles and why it is here. What else can you tell us? What would help to clarify that new truth? New beginning and new truth, but maybe not with a new person. Could be a new person. I don't want to say for sure. I just see evidence that it might not be. I get the feeling that it might not be a new person. So we've got the Two of Swords. So I get the sense, and I am taking the top two cards. Usually I just take the top card, and, unless I'm guided to do otherwise, I was guided to take the top two cards this time. And so I guess what I would say here is you've got a new truth coming through that we saw was probably linked to this thing that doesn't go quite right. But that's going to expose some healing that has occurred here. And it's going to show a situation that you guys, it's a decision, okay? It's a decision, but not just any decision. So this is, if you guys had, run across one another in the past, maybe when you last saw one another or last communicated, there was something sort of hanging here, because this has a sense of a decision that this new truth is revealed in the context of a decision you get to almost remake, and it. Like when this happens, you'll know it, and there'll be a decision. You get to decide if you want to go a different direction. And because of this healing, that has occurred. Well, you're going to be able to see this healing. And like I said, this is where it is revealed that you are not overthinking it, maybe even revealed to yourself how much you're not overthinking it. And then you've got, this person who genuinely steps in, and you're both able to be upfront and not, you're able to be vulnerable and talk for real. Like, it may surprise you a little bit. I would just say you've got to go with it. It's part of your solution. This is really cool. A lot of times the super cool energy is reserved for the extendeds. And in this case, we've got really cool story kind of happening here right in the main reading. So anyway, let's take a look at this Eight of Needles in reverse. And so this is like the Eight of Swords in reverse. And this is it just kind of, it's you coming out of overthinking. So again, it's a change in you. It's part of that healing here that gets revealed by this situation. And so I guess tell us about this Eight of Needles in reverse. What is, so we have the Earth Mother, which is the Empress in reverse. Okay. So you're coming from a place where you weren't feeling into, I'm trying to figure out how to put it into words. You're not in tune with you weren't in tune with yourself, and on some level that you now are. Okay, and it's been a very slow process. So the Eight of Wands is a fast-moving energy, and what we have here is a slow-moving energy. It is energy that kind of stuck around and moved so slowly that sometimes you felt like it almost had stopped, but you've been through it. It's almost kind of got that dark night of the soul resolution energy. There was a long way to go. There was, it wasn't moving very quickly, and that's part of what has built you up into what you are now, so that now when you see this situation that sort of gives you, both of you, pause and makes you realize some communication is needed and maybe something isn't, let's double check this. That's what it is, because it's a misunderstanding, it's a missed opportunity, it's a missed date or something. And instead of just writing one another off, somebody gets a cool head, and maybe it's you, with this kind of energy, and says, hold on, let me check into this. There could be more to it. And in so doing, you make this person realize, hold on, I want that in a person. So let's see about them. So we've got this Queen of Wands in reverse. So they are genuine. They are, okay, Movement of Cups. Wow. All right. So this is like the Knight of Cups, and you see the little fish. And let me show it to you. Actually, this is a really cool card. So this is like the Knight of Cups. And it's a whale. I'm sorry, it's not a fish. But there's action. There's action here. There's action, but there's communication. I'm seeing both of those. I'm seeing action and communication. Maybe this is a person that wasn't great with the action and communication in the past. Could be. But this is somebody that's now seeming more genuine. And you can tell it's going to come through when you guys have to rectify this misunderstanding. So what's happening there? They have learned better communication, it feels like. They are now more genuine, so they're forthcoming and more truthful. They're not, remember I was talking earlier about how they didn't have like passion for no reason. They have, if they get riled up about something, which they are quite capable of doing, it's not the wrong things. It's the right things. It's the right hill to die on, I think I said. But it's just, they're picking the right battles, and instead of picking all the battles, or maybe some that aren't so healthy for them. And this is going to show when the two of you have a misunderstanding. Okay, and so something has happened to teach them this lesson that was really just heartbreaking. So something has caused them a lot of heartbreak, and their reaction to it is to honestly, to bounce back. I mean, so they are going to improve on their communication. They realize that something that happened in the past was based in poor communication and something that could have been avoided. And that's going to be what's driving them. And what's driving you is you just don't overthink things on the same level that you used to, because now you've been through, honestly, the ringer. I'm sorry, but I mean, it looks like it's been slow, arduous development, but you've gotten there. And so now when this thing happens, you handle it way better. So let's understand better a little bit about what they're looking for. Because I'm already thinking, that we know that they wanted to have a partner, somebody that they could be learning these lessons with. Maybe let's learn a little bit more about that and why the Strength card is here. So why the Strength card? Understand that they'd be looking for that partner. But what does that mean? Is there anything else, that you could tell us? So the Two of Wands in reverse. So again, we're thinking about a decision that wasn't made. It's this same decision that we see up here, honestly, but it's about, I could have gone that extra mile. I could have made a shift, and we see that up here too. I could have made a shift, and I recognize this was a heartbreaking situation that could have been avoided. And with that shift, if I had had the presence of mind to go together with some partner that they've lost in the past, or it could be a parent or a brother or sister, or somebody that they've parted ways with, this is part of what has built this person. And so they recognize it was kind of an inflexibility there. Let's see what else. So they're looking for the ability to learn their lessons in a way that is reasonably flexible, and they know it's going to be a little bit tough. But check out what comes off of this card. So this is the Five of Wands, which characteristically means struggle and maybe some difficulty, but this is not necessarily the only meaning of this card. So part of it is you could have a situation that requires people to work together to do something challenging. Okay. And this is the feeling of people doing that. So when they're talking about strength, they want you to be strong enough to grow with them. They want you to be strong enough to be flexible, and while they grow, allow for kind of some of these struggles to happen, because maybe this is something that didn't work out so well in the past. And to be honest, it's probably part of what bounced the two of you apart, if you have had experience with one another in the past. And so I think this is just a situation where, yeah, they're looking for a partner along the path. So let's take a look at what this thing is that's going to happen that causes the two of you to need to reevaluate and to discover that how much the two of you are just maybe the other one is looking for. So we have the Fool in reverse. Okay, so a situation happens when they're supposed to come toward you, or you're supposed to come toward them, and it doesn't happen. That's well, let's get another card. But that's what it feels like for this misunderstanding. So there's an opportunity to do something different, to come toward one another, to reach out maybe. Maybe something, spurs one of you to feel like you need to reach out to the other one. And you don't. But it gets reevaluated. Let's see what comes out with this other card, because it's going to get reevaluated as we see, and that's going to bring out your ability to not overthink it and get it all up in your head. So maybe it's like you run into each other, you see each other, but nobody gets up the guts to say anything to the other one. And then later, the other one, somebody writes a text and is like, you know what? I can do this. Yeah. So we have the Seven of Swords in reverse here, which is all about, in this case, it's trust, but it's like self-trust. Oh, so when you, it's like that. It's like you see each other someplace, but you don't interact. Like both of you, you lock eyes, you see each other, but no one says anything, and both of you are scared too. And then afterwards, you realize this is a missed opportunity, and we've got to maybe try to communicate. I have enough trust in myself that I know what I saw when we locked eyes, and I'd be willing to maybe reach out. And I don't know which one of you this would be, but to initiate communication. And during the course of this, oh my goodness, a new truth comes out that shows that you've had some healing. Both of you have had some healing because perhaps in the past you left your situation feeling like you didn't, and that you wouldn't be able to work together. But you have, and so you are no longer overthinking things. They are, they're ready to communicate, and both of you are ready to be more vulnerable. Let's learn a little bit more about this, because I think in the extended, I know this business of what happened before. Let's dig a little bit more into that, and then, well, let's find out here. About the vulnerability and the Queen of Needles in reverse. So remember, this is like the Queen of Wands in reverse. But what is this? Oh, that's a lot of cards. We're just taking the top one. Okay, so this is Temperance in reverse. So it's a balance that isn't there. There's a balance that hasn't been struck, but you guys have gotten a lot more you've gotten a lot better at living within that balance that hasn't been struck. And then we have this Six of Wands in reverse. And this is honestly what this one feels like to me is a fear of success and a lack of balance. And it's that sense of like when something is just hanging over your head. It's just hanging over your head, and you can't seem to just shake it. No matter what you do, you write things down, you make your list to show that you can see everything that's ahead of you. But you've got this fear of failure and this feeling like it's just not going to work, and this feeling of being out of balance and like, hold on, I'll bet if I took a step back, that wouldn't really be the case. And it turns out it's not, because you do find this. We got to look more into this in the extended, because you do get to this vulnerable place where you're able to, because of this situation, maybe this is truly what jogs those last pieces into place for you, is when you see each other. So let's learn a little bit how about that and what's to be expected there. So when you see each other and you guys make eye contact perhaps, but you don't communicate, and then one of you gets the gumption afterwards to communicate and kind of shows this new truth, which is exposing just how much growth both of you have had, with you no longer overthinking things. And so it's very different dealing with you and them being able to communicate. So it's very different dealing with them. But you guys have to overcome this feeling of imbalance and just, it's uncomfortable. How long can I sit in this kind of uncomfortable situation? And you also have to overcome this feeling of like that you can't do it, but clearly you get there. So there's that vulnerability that allows you to maybe come together and have this relationship that is based on mutual strength, that is flexibility, that's allowing you to reach those goals that you set for yourself spiritually. That's something that's amazing. If you can have the backup, like a person that partners with you and understands, because they're going through it too. So I think that's what I've got for you in this reading. I definitely want to jump into an extended. So I don't do extendeds unless we need to, but ever since I threw that card out there, I've been needing to know like what happened there. Was the decision. Tell me about this decision that didn't end up getting made, what happened there. We can take a look at a little bit more over here about kind of what's happening with the threats to the vulnerability, and just kind of see what's happening with you guys, and maybe what would be between you and what you seek, what your goals are. So what does that path of growth look like? So yeah, absolutely. Check it out in the extended over on Vimeo. Or if you are going to cut it here, then I would just say thank you so much for joining me. Pile one got to be just an amazing story. I'm really glad that I got to tell it. And I hope that at least one of the people who requested this topic, this resonated with. So, let's go off to pile two. And if you're headed there, I'll see you there. Okay, and now for pile two. So, pile two was the one with the tiger's eye, also one of my favorite stones. And we're going to be using the Alice in Wonderland deck and then clarifying with Mystic Mondays. They felt like they wanted to work together today. So hopefully that goes well. And remember, this is us talking about, you know, it's really what's coming for you and who's coming for you. And we're going to look at it in a sort of big picture form. So first we want to get your current energy and just sort of understand what's going on with you right now. What is the current energy that surrounds you right now? And movement. I generally only like to take this top card unless I'm called to take more than one. And so I see here you've got the Wheel of Fortune, which this is the universe moving you forward. So there is something that is changing here. Sometimes we're with it, sometimes we're not with it. So we'll find out a little bit more when we clarify, but there's definitely a change in the air for you. So I guess maybe to understand what the big picture, what is happening with that change. So if we could look at this from kind of the bird's eye view, judgment. So we've got something that it's coming to an end, but you're having an opportunity to take a look at it and reevaluate. It's also a possibility that if you have somebody that might be from your past, but you ended things with, or things ended with, that is a card of potential reconciliation. So we'll take a look at that when we clarify. But usually, and what I get off of this card, and either way, what I'm getting most strongly off this card is that we now have a chance to truly look at this situation and try to decide what would we do better? How do we feel this? How did it really go? So let's take a look at, a person that might be coming your way. Tell us a little bit more about what's coming your way with regards to a person. So here we have the Six of Spears in reverse, which is like the Six of Swords. So the Six of Swords in reverse is it's got this tempest energy to it, which is not always what I would get off of that. But if you get that a Six of Swords in the upright is having come across something challenging into calmer waters, right? That's kind of got that sense to it. Well, this is somebody who is not there yet. They have not come through the choppy waters. And so this person who could be coming in hot a little bit and might need a little bit of assistance from you or involvement from you. Or let's take a look at what they do want. That's what I want to ask next. So what is it that this person wants when they get to you? Okay, so there's a broken heart involved. That may be why they're coming in the way that they're coming in. So this could be somebody that they are hurting. So you want to handle with care, regardless of, where the pain came from, whether it comes from the past between the two of you, or whether your past is more distant and they're coming from something recent. There's this feeling of handle with care and just kind of be careful. I guess, and the next question that I wanted to ask, this will go right along with it, what don't we know? So maybe fill in a little bit of the gap of what they're coming from, or just what don't we know. If it's a recent breakup with you, then maybe that's what this is. They aren't over it, but they're back to reconcile or at least talk about it. And they're kind of, you both are being pushed by the universe towards this. So when we look at what's coming towards you, who's coming towards you, it's not always that flamboyant of a story, but this one feels like it's on fire, like it's not that is something that's really moving more quickly than it sometimes is. And so here we have the Seven of Wands in reverse, and the Seven of Flowers in reverse, which is the equivalent of the Seven of Wands in reverse. And for this one, or I'm sorry, the Six of Wands in reverse. And I was trying to figure out, why does it just feel like a lack of courage and a lack of confidence? And it's because it's the Six of Flowers in reverse. And so the Six of Wands, and it's this sense of, I'm not going to win. I'm not going to win, but I have to come in. I'm being pushed to come in to understand, like, can we reconcile? And when I say reconcile, I don't always mean get to a place where we get along and we're happy together. It might just be, can we get to a place where we agree, right? And just, could we get to a place that's like that? They are really still pretty riled up and pretty heartbroken, and you might be too. So it might be this mutual handle with care sort of situation. And let's just kind of see what's happening next. So it might not be the final outcome. It's more of a near term, what's happening next. But let's get a feel for what you can expect. So, oh, I see hedgehog. So it's a one of hedgehogs. Oh, it's a slow start. So hedgehogs are pentacles, the equivalent of pentacles in the Alice in Wonderland deck. And so this is a new beginning, but you see his eyes are still closed. Like, this is a really slow beginning. So be prepared that this overall change, even though maybe they're coming in on fire, like I was saying before, but there's still a decent amount of fear holding them back that's making them feel like, I can't possibly be successful. I can't have victory here. So the start is still in this stage where they're moving forward, but they're being pushed. I can feel that from this over here. I guess let's clarify. Again, we're going to use the Mystic Mondays deck to clarify for pile 2. I just felt like these decks wanted to work together today when I pulled them out. It was interesting. It's some decks always do well together, and then other times I just get these pairings that come out of nowhere. And these two have I've never gotten that feeling about before. So this ought to be hopefully interesting and good, but definitely a good fresh pairing. So right now we are looking to clarify that Wheel of Fortune and understand this is that sense that the universe is pushing. It's pushing both of you toward a next step. You're being encouraged not to stand still. Oh, but there's an acknowledgement of the fact that you might really want to stand still. So that's a Five of Swords. That's all about internal anguish and anxiety. It's that, that person is just beside themselves. It's hard to describe. So this is people, and maybe it's even both of you. And I get so much frantic, painful, fast-moving energy over here, but I get that things aren't changing quickly, and there's this anxiety. So many swords. Even in the Judgment card, the swords are what sticks out to me so much. Here we have Five of Cups, and it really is that feeling of regret. So something has gone wrong in the past in a way that's causing a lot of anxiety. But these are fives, and fives are really about change. And so you got a couple of fives that are on top of, if you recall, this was a Wheel of Fortune. So Wheel of Fortune is already about change. It kind of adds to that flamboyant, sort of intense feel. This is like a plane coming in on fire over here. Not only am I not to calmer waters yet, but things are super intense. Oh, and by the way, I'm driven by a lot of pain right now, and anxiety, and regret. So there's a lot wrapped up in this, but things are really wanting to change and get sorted out. So that's what this Judgment card is. This is the getting sorted out, and I see the world in reverse. So that's something that hasn't changed, or hasn't changed over. It's not over yet. This is, I guess you could say, unfinished business. And so, and I want to point out the Judgment card falling with the World card is significant because you have to pass judgment in order to get to the world. So it is, you're coming in, you're passing judgment, and by passing judgment, I mean you guys are looking at this and determining whether it's, I don't know if this is more 3D or more 5D yet, because I can't tell with this incredibly, he's closed, his eyes are closed, things are moving slowly. It's a new beginning, but it's a 3D new beginning, but he's not moving. I don't get the movement sense off of him. So we know it's not over yet. When you guys judge the situation and you think about it, it's not over yet. So tell us more about this Judgment card that came out. We know it's not over yet. And there's also, so there's Four of Swords. There's this need for healing. Okay. And we've seen that all over. We know there's broken hearts here. And I really do get the sense that it's both of you feeling this pain, and probably feeding off of one another, which is adding to this experience here. Because remember, this is kind of big picture what's happening. And it's, hey, we're looking to reconcile and just make sure we understand what's going on. And we can see a lot of healing is required, but this isn't over. So it seems like you're having some sort of boomerang experience because somebody that has gone away from you or that you've told to go away from you is somehow returning. But they're returning with this hasty sort of, I can only describe it as that plane on fire sort of feeling. And so that's what came out when I asked for a description of the person, like what's this person's energy, and it was, oh no, I'm coming in, So let's take a little bit closer of a look at that and understand what is so frantic. I know I see the heartbreak, and that can add to the frantic feeling, and I see some anxiety, but what is this? This feels like it's a little bit more than that. Maybe it's just the timing of when we're pulling the energy. Because you ask a question and you get different answers across time because the energy actually changes. But here we see somebody's there is a lot of anxiety here. They're between a rock and a hard place. There's a decision somebody's not making. And it's one that, like, they know what the answer is. That much I can say. They know what the answer is. They're not doing it. It's like they want to get, there's no balance here. They want to get your input. It's almost like, I'm just going to put out an example, but it's almost like this person has, they've got a friendship gone sour or a job gone sour, and they're trying to decide if they want to quit, and they're not feeling very balanced about it. They're coming in to talk to you about it. There's a lot of heartbreak here, but it could be heartbreak that's kind of being, I want to say, magnified or amplified because they're coming in to talk to you, because things aren't done here yet. This is something else that they are having to evaluate, and that is thrown them off balance. And for a while, maybe they were able to keep this anxiety and everything in check, but now they're not. And that's why it seems like they're coming in like a plane that's on fire, because it's all just very sort of sudden. It happens very quickly, and it impacts them emotionally really quickly. So let's see a little bit more about this heartbreak, because this was in the position of, what do you want to happen here? And so what is this about the heartbreak? Is it fix the heartbreak? Because I mean, it's fix the heartbreak. This is a person who wants to get away from the pain, but what do they mean by that? Like, okay, so we have Eight of Wands. Oh, they just need for things to slow down and make sense for a second. Okay, so things are, this is a high anxiety situation. I can just feel it, and I'm probably talking too fast, but it's just a high anxiety situation that they've been doing some overthinking and going round and round about this in their heads. And so this decision to come in to talk to you is not one that's being made lightly, especially because they don't think they're going to succeed here, but they do think you're going to work with them, and that's what they're hoping that you do. So this is what they're hoping for. They're hoping for things to, the anxiety to be quelled, and for the two of you to work together and sort of deal with this heartbreak that's been happening here. And it feels like it does feel increasingly like this is tied to this situation that isn't over yet and from which the healing is needed. They want to get that healing. They want to do it with you. So they want to heal, together. There's something else over here that I'm not going to say. I don't see the card that says there's something here that has to end. But it's just, maybe we'll look into this when we go into the extended to understand. I always like to ask, what's the problem? What's between you and where you need to go? What does that bridge look like? Because for any problem, that question looks a little bit different, but the concept is the same. And so, this shows me that something has to happen here. Something's throwing them off balance, but it feels like there's not a resolution. So we'll take a look at that, because I'd like to understand, because what they're looking for you here is, they want that comfort. They want that comfort that they associate it with you. But they don't think they can succeed. So let's take a look at that. Let's understand why they don't think they can succeed. What is happening there? And this is energy that's going to be a little more on the hidden side. So this is a secret fear, not necessarily something they're putting out there, although admittedly they're probably not putting out exactly what they want from you at this time either. This is not a person who is freely and easily communicating their needs. So what is it that makes them feel like they are not going to be successful here? Oh, okay. They're afraid the partnership between the two of you has dissolved. So that's part of it. Let's see what else. Oh, here comes. Let's see, the Knight of Wands. Okay, so they're afraid that there's not that you wouldn't be interested. I'll just put it that way. So they're afraid that you've lost interest in them, that you don't care for them anymore in a way that maybe the two of you shared before, and they have some regrets about this. It's given them a bunch of anxiety. They really do see you as, the best way I could describe it is, you feel like home to them, and there's something over here that's kind of snagging onto them, or it's catching them. And I feel like this is the next thing we're going to clarify, but I feel like that's the thing that's causing this little guy's eyes to be closed. So this is what's coming for you, and what's coming is, here's a very slow new beginning. So this is the One of Hedgehogs, which is like the One of Pentacles, Ace of Pentacles. And so it is a new beginning. It is a potentially a new door opening, but it's not happening very quickly. And with this lack of confidence over here, and all of this anxiety that just shows up here, let's see what's going to happen. So we see the One of Hedgehogs, but what does that really mean? What is likely to, is it slow communication? Dropped a card. Okay, sorry about that. Let's see, is it slow communication? Let's see what this is. So, there's that. They're having a hard time feeling balanced about things. This could be somebody who actually just suffers from anxiety. And I feel a little bit of depression in there too, but I think there's more to it. And possibly the anxiety is getting the better of them right now, and they're not feeling very balanced, and they would like to. Oh, there's a single card, I believe. Yep, when a single card comes out, I will take it. So yeah, they would like to feel like they have it together and that they are independent, ready to go. They don't feel balanced right now, and that's something that would have to change for them. So it feels like, just with all that frantic, coming in on fire sort of energy that's happened here, there is a change coming in the wind. And so that wind, though, it's like whipping up this fire. And so you've got this anxiety in here, maybe a little bit of depression, definitely a lot of regret that's sort of causing feelings that are very depressive, even if this is not a person prone to depression like they are right now. So they're dealing with anxiety and depression, more on the anxiety side, and they are getting blown like the wind of the universe is blowing them. Back toward you, really, to make this judgment, this feeling of, can we understand what happened here? Because we can both feel that it's not over, and that some healing is needed. There's a lot of pain. It's and to look at this person that is coming back towards you, you start to really feel that pain. And so this is a person that is still very much riled up. They're caught on something. If they're going down that really rough water and trying to get to the calmer water, and sometimes you'll hear that analogy, this is a rock that they're caught up on that is, tipping their boat and causing them to have issues with their balance and with their just kind of feeling good about things. Something is really got them feeling bad, and yet they are wanting to come your direction to reconcile and feel better about things. And ultimately what they want from you is to get rid of this broken heart, to slow down some of these feelings of anxiety, to feel that partnership and togetherness that you have felt in the past. And that's exactly what they're afraid that you've given up on. So they're afraid this won't be successful. Like, they're going to have to come in. They're getting to this point where the pressure has built, to like they are going to have to come in, but they don't feel like they can. We'll look at this too in the extended, because this is them thinking that you are past it, but it feels like there's more to this. We'll take a look at kind of what's in the way. What is that thing that's in the way? That'll help us to understand what's happening in these two places, and just to see what's coming next. We know that something new is starting with the two of you, but it feels like it's moving very, very slowly. They're looking for balance, which they just can't seem to get. There's something here, like I said, snagging them, that they almost feel like they have to juggle and sort of deal with. And then over here, you have, I just want to feel confident and independent. I want to know I can do this by myself, because that's what healing means to them. So I think with that, I will leave it there, and we're going to go ahead and go over into the extended. I want to get a little bit more of a sense for sort of how this person is feeling and how it ties in with you, because I feel like this whole portion of this reading is very tied. Like, they are having the winds of change that are blowing them for sure, and they're trying to go down this water, which of course they can't do because they're snagged on a rock, but they feel like you're the answer, you're home. I get that over and over. So let's take a look at, kind of the nature of that relationship and what's going on. Definitely what's going on here, and just kind of understand what has to happen in order to move this along. So we know that it maybe is gonna be slow to get started, and that's not necessarily uncommon, but what's in the way? We're going to take a look at that. So thank you so much for taking a look at pile 2. If you'd like to join me in the extended, go ahead and click on the link down below, and I'll see you over there. If not, then thanks so much for joining me today, and I will see you next time. And last but not least, here's pile 3. So if you chose pile 3, that was the one with the moss agate. Let you see that from a couple of different angles. And we are going to use the Intuitive Night Goddess Tarot. And remember, we are trying to understand what is coming your way, who is coming your way. Kind of the flavor of the question was, what's coming your way in love? And the first thing that I want to get is that current energy that's kind of flowing around you right now. So, right away we have the Star. So that is fabulous energy. That is, you are moving down a path that the path that you're supposed to be on. So that's the first thing that I get off of this card. Sometimes it's hope. It's definitely hopeful. There's a lot of positivity, something you've been waiting for, or that it's taken a long time to get here. How about that? So maybe you weren't like sitting there waiting. I don't mean that, but there's the sense that it's taken a while to get there. And so what I want to know now is kind of like, what is it? What is that thing that is coming toward you? So I have the Five of Wands. Okay, and when I get multiple cards, I usually just take the top card unless I feel drawn to another one. So we've got the Five of Wands here, and so what's happening is things coming together. So sometimes the Five of Wands is a struggle, and for sure it can be. It can be a situation where they really have to be kind of wrangled and navigated. But this is doing it. This is taking a situation that could be a little bit challenging, and that is a big challenge actually, and turning it into something that works well. And you kind of see, even in this card, the imagery in this deck is so great, but sometimes, like I said with this card, it can really be putting things together. So this is meeting challenges head on. And so let's see about, a person, about the who is coming to you. If I've got more than one card, I don't take it if they drop. Oh, we just have one here, and that is, okay, the Four of Pentacles. So here's a person that, this is really interesting because this is somebody that you, this is interesting. You already know that you want this. You already know that you want this. There's an edge to this, and we'll have to look into it, because there's almost like this feeling of, sometimes the Four of Pentacles is not wanting to let go of something, but in this case, it's something that you've been waiting for. There's a struggle that it has to be managed, but you guys are going to manage it. And it looks like a coming together, but there's some sort of edge to it. So we'll figure out when we clarify here in a minute. I guess I'm curious to know next, what is it that this person wants from you? So as we look at this person, and it's somebody that you seem like you may have known before, if this is somebody new, they remind you of a situation that makes you want to kind of hold on. So what they want is to establish some peace and to establish some balance. Okay, so you've got a situation, maybe you've known this about them, and that's part of what the struggle is. There's a magnetism between the two of you, and I'm trying to explain what's coming off of this card, because it's not necessarily what I would traditionally see when I pull a Four of Pentacles. There's this feeling of you guys magnetizing each other, but it's almost like a minor league Devil's card, because there's this feeling of mutual attraction, and that's not the struggle. You guys have been waiting to come together in some regard, so we'll have to learn a little bit more about that, because they're wanting to make things balanced and make things right. This is kind of that feeling of relief, and they're looking to have that feeling of relief and things that are not bugging them anymore. So I guess I'd be curious about maybe what's bugging them, but it's like, what is hidden? What is the hidden piece here? Oh, Ace of Pentacles, something not begun. So maybe when the two of you had come together before, there had not been an opportunity, and that's what you've sort of been waiting for, and I got that sense. But this is a door that doesn't open or didn't open, and something about this has really, I don't want to say scarred this person, like it's negatively impacted them, and something, you guys may have triggered each other when you came together. Maybe that's a little bit of what I'm feeling here with the Four of Pentacles. But I guess let's understand, what I want to see here is what is likely to happen next. So we know that we're looking at taking some struggles, some situations with struggles, and setting them right and making them better. But what's kind of our next step here? Oh, we've got a single one. Okay, and freedom. Okay, so they may have to gather their own freedom from something, but what I get from this is more of a sense of emotional freedom and being able to have movement. So this card is like the Chariot card, and it's that movement side of it, but it's movement despite the fact that there are challenges. So there's like this feeling of, dropping some of that dependency or that attachment. There's a feeling of getting past that a little bit, and that's one of the things that's going to happen to help to move you away from just having a struggle and start getting things in order. And it looks like it's been a long time coming. So this door didn't open before. The two of you are highly magnetized toward one another, and you kind of need freedom from that. So you kind of need freedom from that feeling of this magnetism. It's a beautiful thing, but it's also part of what's causing this lack of balance here. And so this freedom is going to help to restore this balance, which is what they want, but they also want you. And so they want to be able to come together and make this struggle into something more constructive, I guess. So now let me grab the Uncommon Tarot. So here's another one with a lot of great imagery, and just do a couple of clarifiers. So I'd like to first clarify that star. So we see that this is kind of your current energy, and this is, to be in that now, it's like it's imminent. This is something that's about to happen for you. So I'm curious to understand like more about that feeling that something is likely to happen for you in the near future. You've been waiting for it. It's got that destined sort of feel to it. There's hope for it, but there's also a lot of faith. And so sometimes when you see hope, can almost get in the way of your faith sometimes, because you want something, but you don't really believe it's coming. And so the faith is what would, that's that belief and that sort of inner knowledge that it's coming. So here's the Devil in reverse. And so this one, this is around some of that healing that maybe you've been doing. So we've got the Devil in reverse, which speaks to me. Let me get the rest of these flipped over. But it speaks to me for about this piece over here where you had to have freedom from this magnetism that's almost like a minor league devil. Well, this is you finding that. And maybe it's even, both of you finding that. So let's see. Oh, we got another one right away. We'll just take the top one. And so, this is awakening in the upright. And so that is like the Judgment card, okay, in a traditional deck. And I'll just hold this up here so that you can see it a little bit better. But so the awakening card in this deck has everything to do with your awakening that you've been going through. So what I feel here with this star is that there has been an awakening, and part of that has allowed you to move past some of this devil energy that was really just controls you. That's what devil energy does. It's not always an addiction. It's not always an obsession. But in this case, it was just something that was kind of snagging you and holding you back. And so this awakening is you getting past that, which, you open the door for somebody to come back, maybe that you're highly magnetized to, but then you don't sit and stare at the door. That is not freedom, and that will keep that door, they're not going to come through it. So let's take a look at kind of what's happening for you. Big picture is that Five of Wands, but it was that sense of getting things in line. So things that are really difficult, and they could be a big struggle. They are a big challenge, but you somehow are going to get them into line. And so we see a Four of Wands, which that is just plain happy new beginning. So the Four of Wands can be, a marriage card. It can be a lot of wonderful things, but it is a new beginning. And what we see here, this is the Queen of Swords in reverse. And this one is all about, this is the third time it's come out today, and it's been about vulnerability every time. So here's the Queen of Swords, and part of what's going to happen in your big picture is that you're going to see vulnerability able to come out and a happy new beginning here, which is just amazing, because it looks like you have done the emotional work to make that happen, but you've still got, there's a little bit of a catch here. So let's look into this. This is that, remember that Four of Pentacles, that felt a little bit like a minor league devil energy. And okay, but here's the thing. The two of you, we know that there's sort of a divine thing going on here and that you are being moved toward one another. But this is the happy ending card in a way that makes me realize you guys know something about this magnetism. So, all right, and King of Cups is, well, it's love and emotion, but it's not necessarily the freest flow of emotion. And I think that's what this catch was that I was feeling, because the King of Cups, even when he's got his world, which is going to be, it's that happy ending. It's the thing that happens if you're able to pass judgment over here, you move on to the world. That's the next card in the tarot, and that's the next place that you go. And so it passes judgment. You've been through the entire process. Tower has fallen. You've done the work. We see over here that you've got the devil in reverse. You've got your happy new beginning. There's this vulnerability that comes about between the two of you, and you know that's possible. You know that's possible, and that's really what could happen here. But you've got somebody who is really insisting on having that emotional stability, or at least appearances of that emotional stability. And so that is what is kind of bothering me here about this card. So you guys have this strong magnetism, but there's this sense also that they kind of don't want to give to you all the way. And so the King of Cups, like I said, is not necessarily super free with all of that emotion. So let's take another look at, or a closer look at, what it is that they want here. We've got the Temperance card in reverse. And remember, the Temperance card was about it was about an imbalance, or it's they want to have that balance. The Temperance card in reverse is like a lesson not learned. So let's get a little bit more in depth on that, because sometimes when you ask the question what they want, what I see that comes out is really here are some insights into a person's hopes and dreams. And so this is their dream with you. They want to have that balance. Okay, and so we have the Ten of Cups, card of happiness, but it's halcyon happiness. This happiness is so strong that it's almost dreamy, and so it's like it's too good to be true. They want that feeling of too good to be true with you, and they believe that if they could just have that, they really don't need anything else in this world, which is a wonderful thing. But eventually they're still going to need to do that internal work, and it seems like there's some work that needs to happen there, because where I see you in your awakening and overcoming this devil energy and being maybe a little bit farther along the path, I don't get the sense for them that they've done that just yet. So here, though, we see them healing. So this is the Four of Swords, and this is about that healing that they're doing. So they aren't as far along on the path as you are. They haven't got the reversal of the devil energy. They're still kind of in that devil energy and having a little bit of a tough time with it. But what they want is that happiness with you that almost seems too good to be true. But they believe that's going to set things up and make their balance better, and just sort of help them help them learn that lesson. And maybe they need a little help as they're learning that lesson. But it feels like the tie, the spiritual tie that's happening there, the very act of you continuing down this path and learning your lesson is helping them, believe it or not. So we had in this hidden energy that this Ace of Pentacles, this door not opening. Let's look a little bit more into this Ace of Pentacles, because I wanted to understand what was there. So we have the Nine of Wands. Yeah, something is in the past there. It's something that's in the past. That Queen of Cups that just showed up there doesn't want to be put on the table, but wanted to be noticed. And so this Queen of Cups is all about how they did give all the love before. We're here, they're not inclined to do that, but they did give all the love before in a situation. They allowed themselves to be vulnerable and it didn't work out for them. The door didn't open. Things did not get the way that they had hoped for. So that's where kind of some of that vulnerability fell away. They started to put their guard up. And so, what they'd like to do with you is to get past some of that pain and move through it and to get ready for that. So, let's see what else comes out for that Ace of Pentacles in reverse. Ace of Pentacles in reverse, and that's that door not opening, which we now know has just made them like they haven't given up. They haven't given up on getting better and learning this lesson, but they haven't learned it yet either. And so here we have the Knight of Wands in reverse. And so, yeah, they haven't given up on the lesson, but they're tired. They've got the Wounded Warrior here, and then you've got the Knight of Wands, who is, you know, passionate, forward action, but he's not right now. Right now, he's sort of in and out. You know, you'll see behavior from this sort of knight, and your person could be any gender, but you could see this sort of that sort of energy is can get out very quickly. So maybe, you know, it can come in. There's a lot of love. They know that. But there's that edge to it, and they can really jump back out of the situation as quickly as they jumped into it. So that's part of what's happening in this energy, and part of what this person is hoping that you might be able to help them heal from. So here we see that the next thing that's going to happen is that freedom. And so this is like the equivalent of the Chariot card, but it's got that sense of now there's movement. Like they've had like their wagon that's been stuck in the mud, and now it's been dug out so that they can go. So let's get a little bit more of a feel of what's happening with that freedom card, because that's a really nice next step, but it feels like it's only part of the story. So, oh, the Wanderer, this is like the Fool card. Awesome. So, okay, the freedom card is that movement forward, but it's also, in this case, it's a leap. He, you know, the person on this card leaps off of this cliff, and right now they're sort of considering it. And that's one of those Fool cards where they're afraid to look like a fool. And so that's something that I kind of see through here. I feel that sort of self-conscious. I'm not quite sure how it's going to go. Maybe it didn't go so great last time. It's still really what I was hoping for from you, but I will actually, this is your person talking, I will actually hold things back. And unfortunately, that slows the flow of emotion. So what else on this freedom card? Tell me what else, because this is what's coming for you kind of in a next step. This is part of what breaks you free. So your person is afraid to look like a fool, but there is a sense here that they're very much considering moving forward, which is ultimately going to result in. And here's that King of Wands. This is part of what helps them and part of what hurts them here. Because the King of Wands, they need to be able to move forward so that you can have what you're ultimately going for, which is going to be that turning the struggle into something useful, that happy new beginning, the dropping of the guard so that you have, you know, the vulnerability that's there. But in order for that to happen, you kind of have to have this next step. And so this next step is that freedom, and just sort of something clicks and they realize, no, I can move forward now. I can do something. I don't want to look like a fool. But here with the King of Wands, you have kind of that super ambitious sort of side of the Emperor, but it's also the I would like to control things side of the Emperor. So you have to watch out for that. And that's why I was thinking, wow, freedom, that's going to be, how is that not the last step? But this is kind of the next step. So we'll see, because I think when we get into the extended, there are a couple of things that I would like to better understand. I see some really amazing things that have happened here with your development that's helping you to move forward, but I see some stuff that's catching here that shows me your person still needs to move forward. They have been hurt before that's caused them to be triggered, just like you, but you worked through some things. You're ready to move through this next step and this final step, but they are not. They're still very much bothered by what has happened in the past. And, even though they're looking to you, so there's this, they want to approach you, but they also want to avoid, and so there's this sense that you are the person, the set of everything that could help, that is destined to help them feel better about things, to feel more balanced, to help them along on this healing path, and to find just that unbelievable happiness. But over here, you see that they are themselves kind of holding it back in an almost self-sabotagey sort of way. So I think, as we move over into the extended, I want to look at a couple of things. Let's look a little bit more deeply into it's all of these things. So it's what's going on with this person, maybe what is bringing them to this place, because we see that that's in the hidden energy. Maybe let's get a closer look at that, because it's going to help to shed some light on what is happening here. And this is the description of them. This pile was, tell me about this person. Well, they don't give all the love, but they did at one point, and it really created some problems for them. So let's learn a little bit more about kind of what is happening with your person. I also want to see this next step. Maybe we can kind of blow this up a little bit, because it seems like they want to make a next step, but they're a little bit scared to do so. And then we're also going to take a look at my new favorite question, is kind of what is in between, because we see that right now you are having gone through this, awakening to a certain degree, and you are much different level than you were the last time you saw this person. They still have some work to do. We'll look at some of what that is. But you guys are heading to a place where you move through an experience of, I can do this anyway. It's sort of this feeling of non-attachment. And then you move to a place where there's a happy new beginning. Things work together. There's vulnerability. It is a beautiful, beautiful thing. So that's what we'll look at in the extended. I'm going to end this here. I hope to see you over there. Again, if this reading resonated with you, please do like, share, and subscribe. That way you can stay with me, and that way I'll see you next time.